Okay, so now I'm gonna show you what's causing these issues, like these striations, and how to get to this hollow core instead of having just a completely solid building. Um, and I'll try to, I'll do my best at verbally, saying what commands I'm using. But if you miss them, there's the command prompt up here, and I'll keep that up there so that you can see what commands I'm using and which order I'm going in. And yeah, I'll just get started. If you have any questions, just message me. But I just want to show you my process at how to get these details to be shown better and how to make this actually printable. Don't need that line, whatever that is. So first off, I'm just going to look at the model and see what it's made of, because typically it's, yeah, so you can kind of see these walls here are very, very, very thin, and there's also like no base, so that means this is an open poly surface. And an open poly surface, which you can see over here, the type is not very printable, because the printer will pretty much just try to guess how thick this is, and it won't be able to read that. So it'll do the best it can and just fill this gap. And I mean, what we want is a defined solid object like this for the wall, so it knows this is what I have to fill, pretty much. And you can see here this is a closed extrusion, and anything closed, like a closed extrusion, a closed poly surface, closed curve even, is good to go. But if there's anything that's open, or it has a naked edge, or it has a non-manifold edge, that's where there's problems with the geometry. So that, you don't really need to understand that too much. It's just what to look out for. Over here in this display tab, which you can get from this options cog over here, the settings cog, there's the display right here. You have to turn that on in order to see all these options. And yeah, these are my settings right here. ISO curves are usually default on, so you probably want to turn those off. But this pink is where this is coming from, which is probably why you're not seeing it. It's called color backfaces, and that's how you're able to easily see if a surface is like inside out or not. Yeah, so turn that on, and you'll pretty much know what's good, what's not good. As you can see, this model is mostly pink, and you can see through the bottom of it. Like I said, the walls are indefinitely thin. What else? The details are not popping out at all. Like, you can barely even see that window popping out. So there's no way that the 3D printer is going to be able to read that. This fire stair is definitely not readable. Everything's too thin on that. And yeah, I guess we'll just start to dissect this and fix it up. So first off, if your building is, I'm going to undo here because I already did this. If your building over here says anything block instance, then you need to type in explode block, and that will allow you to select all of these elements individually, and that's what we want. So go ahead and do that. If not, it might be grouped, and you can type in ungroup for that. And if you can already choose all this stuff, then it was probably a little bit difficult to select out of the site model they provided us. So good job getting here. What am I going to do first? Let's do the core first. So the inside is a pretty big problem for this model in particular, because that's where all of these indefinitely thin surfaces are coming in. It's basically just 4 pieces of paper standing vertically next to each other, and that's not going to work. So what we got to do is turn off my ringtone. I'm not editing these videos. That'll take too long. And we have to fix this core up to make it solid. So I'm going to type in block and create a block based off of this core. And all that a block is when you have any geometry. Let's say I have this cube and I want to copy it 100 times or so, like a window or something, and then edit it later. I want all of these to edit as well. So what you do to get that to work is you just choose an object before you copy it, type in block, choose a base point, and then give it a name. So I'll name this one cube. And then let's say I want to copy it over a bunch. You can copy by holding Alt and dragging on the gumball. And the gumball, if I haven't explained it yet, is down here. It's one of these buttons that you can click, and it pretty much just activates these three axes right here. Yeah, so now these are all copies of the cube block instance, and now whenever I edit one of these and click OK, they all will get those edits. So that's what we're doing here. I created that core block, and now whenever I copy it over, I can double click it, and anything I do to this model over here will now edit in that without me needing to deal with, you know, sifting through all of this detail. So let's fix this up. I'm going to edit this block over here first because I want to get this base line right here and extrude it upwards to get the general building mass. What I might do is, yeah, I'm going to extrude this first floor. Yeah, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trace this baseline with all the detail and everything, extrude it up to the first floor, and then for all of the floors above that, since these 4 floors are the same, I'm going to just do another trace and then extrude it all the way up to the building. And then these parts back here, I'll subtract from that mass to get this negative space. Alright, so I'm going to get started on that. The line command is over here, or polyline, so you can draw line after line after line. And I'm just going to start tracing the bottom because my first floor is different than the floors above. Hello. All those red lines are from SmartTrack, which is pretty much I hover over a point, and there goes my viewport. I hover over a point, and it creates kind of like a new snap point that I can use as a guide. So all of these red lines allow me to snap in specific angles that I want. Like I said, I know I'm going kind of fast, but I just want to get this out to you guys. I might post like a updated version of this that's more concise, but is a lot clearer and not all over the place. Okay, and for some reason my viewport got messed up and it's not panning anymore, or it's not rotating anymore. So I'll do set view perspective. What is going on? Set view perspective. There, that's rotating. Weird. Wireframe, I want shaded. Okay. There's the curve. So I'm going to get into this block mode by double clicking the block and then adding an object, which I want to add this line, and then extrude curves. Any kind of line or actual curve is going to be called a curve in Rhino because they're all treated the same. And I'll go up to here. Just like that. Now I have this detail is going to be on the outside of this solid core, and I'll show you what I mean by that. This is a solid block now, and by block I mean like a wood block, not a block instance in Rhino. And this is very easily printable, and once I do the next 4 floors, then I'll poke a hole through it and make it a hollow core like this. Okay, so next I'm going to do the floors above. So I'm going to move this, or I'm just going to draw another line up here. But these 4 floors above here don't have these indents, so I don't want to trace that. I just want to go just a generic rectangle around. Just like that. When you have more than one object stacked on top of itself, or on each other, then it gives you this selection menu, and it highlights what you want to select. So I want to choose that, move it vertically by pressing M, enter, V, enter, move vertical. Yeah. And then that's going to be the base for when I extrude all the way up here. Like so. Let's see. Extrude curve. And I'll come up here. Let's see, yeah, I want to go to that point. Now I have to take away where it filled in here. So I'm going to hide this and pretty much create this mass that is the negative space, and then subtract it from that extrusion that I just hid. So I'll do a rectangle over to here, and then extrude curve up there. And I'll do another rectangle. I'll just do a box because a box is even easier. Go up to here. Then I'm going to Boolean union these two. Well, I don't really like how these look. So I'm just going to draw another box from this corner over to here, down to here, so that this is lined up nicely, or so I thought it was. There we go, that's much better. And then Boolean union. Boolean commands are how you join solid objects together. And then the command for showing an object is show selected. I go to default for show selected instead of just show. That way I can choose out of all the things that are hidden what I want to show. This is the object I want to subtract from this object. So I'm going to do Boolean difference. And it says up here, select surface or polysurfaces to subtract with. I want to subtract with the one that I just made. And then I press enter. And now I have these two objects that generally resemble the basic massing of my building. And now when I press OK, well, hold on. I want to delete this crap first because this shows, you know, the holes for the windows and everything. I don't think I'm going to include that because that's just going to be an extra, few minutes of print time, and it'll probably just break off in the end. But we're not going to be printing the windows hollow. We probably could later, but it'll take a lot longer. I think we just want to get the general massing out first. So I'm going to delete that. And now if you look over here, you'll see how I have changed the core. Just like that. Now these details are sticking onto a solid block that is a lot easier to print. And the last step for this video, before I take a break, is probably going to be making this hollow. So I'm going to get into block mode again by double clicking my block. And there's a nice command called dupe face border, where you can choose a face to copy, and it'll just automatically draw the outline for you. And I'm going to offset that line, let's see, 4 millimeters inwards. This is in millimeters down here. You can see the units in the bottom left. And then this new line I'm going to lift up a little bit and extrude down. Extrude curve down. That, and I raise it up because I want to make sure I include the top surface there. If I had it where it would be perfectly flush with this, and it would have a little hard of a time subtracting from that center. So I'm going to subtract now with Boolean difference, choose what I'm subtracting with, and then delete. And then I'm going to Boolean union these two objects so that the first floor and the upper 4 floors are together. Oh, my shift key isn't working. There we go. And then press OK, and now you have that hollow core that is so useful.